look at the 4 beat boxes.
Hello and welcome to the North America Sim Racing Series. We are in off-season race number 2 at a very wet Barcelona. I am joined here today by Arjun.
Hello everyone.
Alright, so it's a wet race. Got a lot of big names here today. We've got Matt pushing with a 152.8, which in the wet is a very impressive lap. Got a lot of good drivers here tonight, and it should be a lot of fun.
You have a lot of returning drivers and a lot of new drivers in new cars. Mostly Porsches and Hondas have taken the scene after last week's race against Sega, but there's still a big, very well grid of a lot of different cars.
Yeah, there's a good chunk of Ferraris, a good chunk of Astons, a good chunk of just about everything. It should be a pretty good stream tonight. Should be a pretty good race to watch, especially in the wet. It's certainly going to keep things dynamic. We are going to see, hopefully, some more dynamic weather tonight compared to our normal during the season races. So it should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Especially right now with different drivers in different positions. For example, Swanson here, he's at the top of the leaderboard right now in qualifying. So I'd be excited to see what he has to show for this race.
Got about 7 minutes left in qualifying. Decent bit of time before we get kicked off with this race. Looks like Yarrington is getting close to competing with Swanson, but he's taking his time in the pits, maybe adjusting some pressures, getting stuff ready to go. Because they did practice just before this in a very dry setting. So they're having to be very dynamic, especially for qualifying, to get their wet setups ready to go.
The track is forecasted to get a bit drier in less than 10 minutes, so maybe some drivers are waiting for that window where the rain starts decreasing and the track's noticeably drier. But right now, the track's only getting better. Well, actually, I'd say it's getting drier. A dry line should be forming right now with a lot of cars on the grid, so hopefully the condition improves by the end of the session. We could see more faster times.
Yeah, you can already see that looks like there's a dry line already starting to form, at least on the front straight here, on the left-hand side of the track. So we'll see how that plays out. Maybe a lot of the faster drivers are holding out and seeing if the track improves before they go out and start throwing laps on down. Like you said, there are a lot of newer drivers on tonight, and that now is the time to do it. We've got 3 off-season races before we head into the next season. You are joining us for round 2. So, if you are interested, there is a possibility of joining for the 3rd off-season race, just to kind of shake it down, see if you like the league or not. That link can be found in the description below. We do have a lot of really good features. We have free coaching. Larry and Davin and Ilpo are all major contributors to those, to coaching and everything like that. They give great advice, but overall and all, we have a lot of very fast drivers that are all very willing to help. Very fast people that just, they're there for you. You can hop a question into the House of Practice chat or into one of the other chats like that, and they'll actually be able to tell you what's going on and maybe where you can improve. So a lot of help with this community. One of the greatest things that I think that we have.
I agree. This community has been super helpful, especially when I started to get into ACC and I was lost. I came to NASRS, and yeah, it's just been an upward curve in my driving ability. And not just Davin, Larry, and Loper, just the whole community has been super helpful. Like some of the aliens, they've been giving me a lot of setup tips on how to drive and set up the cars. Everyone's been super helpful, as we used to do like battle practices and house of practice, and just to help the racecraft. So I would definitely recommend joining NASRS or even if you're a rookie or a seasoned veteran driver. You'll fit in right here. You'll fit in perfectly right here.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got quite the variance in drivers, quite the variance in speed, and we've got a split for just about everyone. And that really helps out because, you know, you're always going to find good competition, no matter what split you're in. And we are flexible. You know, if you're a faster driver, but you can't compete in the gold split because of scheduling conflicts, we can put you in the silver pro, as long as you're not insanely fast. And, you know, we can accommodate for that, which is quite nice. Swanson is back out on track, maybe trying to get a couple of laps in, try to secure a better lead over Yarrington. He's got about 2.5 minutes to do so. That leaves him this out lap and then probably the next lap, and we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, he's gonna get one flying lap in before the clock sticks down. Oh, he stopped on the track. Maybe he's returning to the pits.
Yeah, maybe pressures were off or something like that, but I don't know if he's returning to the pits now unless he's getting out as soon as possible. I don't know that he'll have time for another flying lap.
I don't know if I think he's confident he's not going to get challenged because 9 of the top 10 cars are in the pits, and the only one out, as you can see here, is Arjun. He was also in the Aston Martin. He drove last season in the Bentley. He was ridiculously fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers, a lot of the fast drivers are in Aston Martin tonight. You know, what is your experience say about the Aston Martin, maybe why it's suited to Barcelona during the wet, something like that?
So I think the biggest thing running for the Aston Martin is this insane aero, which helped for the first 2 sectors. The Aston's also super docile and easy to control. One thing that I feared about the Aston and when it comes to wets, because I have driven the Aston in wets, is how it responds to traction zones. But because of the TC settings that these drivers normally run, which is really high TC2 and a low TC1, the car grips up nicely, and the Aston, it's nothing to brush off in the wets. Like, it's really strong in the wets. And I guess it shows, like, the top 3 of the top 4 cars are Aston Martins.
Yeah, and then you have Klaus the Alien in a Porsche.
Yeah, the Porsche is also strong in the wets, partly because it's engine placement. Because it's in the rears, we get a lot of weight in the rears, which gives it a lot of traction out of corners, and that is really crucial for the final corner, especially setting up to pass. Well, in the Porsche, the straight line speed is not that great. Like, it's been buffed now, and it is way better. You can actually keep up with cars and slipstreams, but that traction out of the final corner is gonna play a big role in Klaus's racecraft this race. He'll be able to defend well. He'll also be able to attack Caleb and Swanson, who are not gonna have the best of tractions out of corners, especially the chicane. It's going to be a really interesting race to see how these cars and how these drivers handle racing in the vet.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can see, the track is pretty wet right now. We are just waiting on the last few cars before we get lined up on the grid and ready for the formation lap. And it'll be interesting to see if the conditions change again after qualifying. Let's see, maybe it's you know, a little bit damp, or maybe it's entirely dry. Who knows?
We also have Kurt Moss here, who's on a flying lap. Let's see if he improves, because he's also a really fast driver and someone who knows the Aston really well.
Yeah, he's about 3/10 up right now. Let's see if he can get some time in these last few corners and maybe get a couple positions. Rounding out the final corner here before we get ready for our grid.
Let's see where this lap would place him.
And
P12. He
not quite able to keep up.
After a wet qualifying, it's refreshing to see a dry race now.
Yeah, and it'll be quite interesting, because that means that all these drivers are now going to have to adjust their setups back to their dry setups. And if they did not have it saved or configured properly, they might have to adjust things on the fly. How likely do you think that is for some of the faster drivers to make a slip up like that? Because I know it happens pretty frequently in some of the bronze and silver league.
I think most drivers out here have practiced in the dry, because the practice session before qualifying was dry. So they would probably have a setup for the dry sections. That said, some drivers may prefer to run a wet setup, hoping for rain in the closing stages of the race. There isn't too much of a difference between the dry and the wet setup. I'm pretty sure drivers would be able to adjust to it. It's just the tire pressures and the tire compound, which I think they'll all figure out.
Let's take you through the first couple of cars that we have on field here. We've got Swanson in P1, Yarrington in the Aston Martin in P2, Klaus in P3 in the Porsche, and Arjun in the Aston Martin again in P4, and Mitch in P5, driving none other than the Honda, which is not at all surprising.
I agree, the Honda kind of stole the show recently. Mitch drives the Audi. The Honda should be something pretty close to what he's used to.
Yeah,
They're both really agile. They both have, well, I would say, different pros and cons. The Audi's really short wheelbase and it's good in out of corners than the exits and the brakes. The Honda's just better all around, but a lot more deadly than the Audi.
Five seconds here before we start to get moving on our full formation lap. It's a long race tonight, 65 minutes, just over an hour.
One thing to keep an eye on is how the Porsches get off the line once the flag goes green, because the Astons, they struggle a bit, especially in these slow starts where you have to stick it in first gear. And even Seiler in P11, he may have a better jump than Eric Romain, who is in the Honda, which suffers from some mild turbo lag. So it's definitely interesting to see how these Porsches start compared to the cars around them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the Porsche plagues, is starting off in first gear. That's been a thing that's, you know, plenty of drivers have complained about. And it certainly does make a difference coming up into the first corner. You basically have to be, you know, pretty defensive going into T1 on most tracks, just because you don't have the same speed that everyone else does.
Here we have Jackman in the beautiful Joda livery. One of the best liveries in the game.
I have to agree with you. That is a fantastic looking McLaren. I had the wonderful opportunity of racing Gustavo last night in the GT4 race, and I'll tell you what, Gustavo is one to look for because he is so good in battles with keeping it clean and, you know, giving plenty of room, but also not just letting positions go. He's a very good defensive and aggressive driver on both fronts, so it'll be a lot of fun watching Gustavo and a lot of these other guys that are really fun in battles. Lining up on the front straight, about to head out. Got a couple cars starting in the pits.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Lights go out, and off we go.
Joe Klaus gets an amazing start. Like I said, he's alongside both Aston Martins.
Ooh, squeezing on the inside. With McLaren.
Oh,
Heading in,
he
small
touched.
incident sideways. Oh, looks like it's a big incident breaking out.
That is Mitch Lush and the other BMW.
That'd be Flavio in BMW. Mitch, who was our P1, is now all the way back in the back of the grid.
Caleb Yarrington has dropped to 4th place. Oh, I guess that's just ACC.
That would be ACC. That is correct. He's sitting tight in P2, putting a lot of pressure on Matt here.
Yeah, both touched coming into turn 1 after Joe backed out. It should be more door banging, but not actual damage. But behind you have Gustavo putting the pressure on Klaus here as he gets past him.
Does get past him. Joel looking up the inside, though. He hasn't quite given up the position. Gustavo gave him the room, but ended up getting the position.
Gustavo had an amazing start. This is, I think, his first race in the Porsche as well. So it's amazing to see how well he's doing in a car, which has a really steep learning curve.
That it does. Mitch already starting to move up the order by quite a bit. We've got quite the train going on here. He's trying to get around this Ferrari. The Lamborghini, my apologies.
Yeah, Mitch, I think, sees red now. He's had a really good qualifying and he's fallen back to the back of the grid. He's gonna do as much as he can to get back to where he was.
Gustavo falling behind, a little bit of an incident. Let's back up here and see what happened. Oh, gets a tap from behind. That would be car 51, that is Arjun. Tapped into Gustavo, sent him back a little bit.
He probably shouldn't be much. The Porsche can take a hit, but a hit in the rears may cause some stability issues.
Another incident in the back of the field. See what happened here. Heading into the same turn. Looks up the inside and doesn't get it quite right.
Yeah, Lamborghini, he spun in the entry. Renault. Or Renault, I do not know how to pronounce that.
Still plenty of time left, though, to get repaired and get some positions back.
You have Seiler also in P5 now, so the top two are Aston Martins, and third, fourth, and fifth are Porsches. And all the Porsches got off to a great start in this race.
Absolutely did. We've got Yarrington setting an absolutely flying lap of a 45.8. Second lap here. There's room for improvement with that, but that is just starting. That's quite a good pace.
He's past Swanson.
Ooh, DeMarcus. Looking a bit on the inside. Really good battle going on here.
Yeah, he's got it out of shape, and he capitalizes on that. But everyone's just going to follow him through. So he runs wide.
Suiza looking to capitalize. Not quite able to. Let's take a look at this train that's going on here for the battle for P6.
The pit is now
Arjun sitting behind Tucker, sitting behind Seiler, and Gustavo up front.
They're all really close to each other. Let's see if he uses the straight to get past one of the Porsches.
The same Lamborghini from earlier, still not ready to give up his fight.
I think Mitch may have damaged the front end a bit too much, which may be why he hasn't been pushing past the cars in front of him. That said, he is setting up a pass or the Audi in front of him.
Ooh, tries to go on the outside, gets a little bit squeezed, has to back out of the throttle.
Oh, he just doesn't have the straight line speed right now.
Yeah, his tune might even be his tune. You know, if you're optimizing for in the turns, you're not going to get as much speed on that front straight.
The Honda has one of the highest top speeds of the GT3 cars, so it should not be a problem. I feel like it should be the front end, because he hasn't stopped for repairing, and he did take a big hit, or two big hits. That said, he is doing a double overtake past these cars.
Very well done move by Mitch. Sure, he's been wanting to get around them for a while. Let's take a look at this train for P9. Moss going defensive.
As he gets past Stork, he also lets Lloyd get past him as he runs super wide and over the curbs.
Jackman into the wall.
Oh.
Let's take a look at what happened here. Battling with car 8, that is Tucker. In the Lexus. Goes around, just goes wide, hits those curves, goes back on front in front of Rod, or it goes, that is unfortunate.
Yeah, his car probably has jumped over the curb into the path of Tucker. And Mitch gets past Cortez. He's showing no signs of stopping with the damage. He's just pushing forward.
Yeah, but he loses that position on the front straight. He absolutely does have damage.
Yeah,
Might lose it to Renix here.
Yeah, no amount of front wing can drag a car back like that. And also up in front, Arjun gets past Tyler.
Also moving up past Tucker. Tucker starting to move back, possibly from damage.
Yeah, the Lexus can take a hit because it doesn't really use a lot of air. It's mostly mechanical driven. That said, he may be a bit out of shape, which is something the Lexus is unforgiving with.
Mitchell looking on the outside, switches to the inside. Gets it right and has a clean overtake. Cortez spinning on the exit there. 67 also in the mix.
What happened here? Oh, Jackman's picked up a stop go 30, probably for speeding in the pit lane.
Possibly. This race is not stewarded tonight, so... Ooh, looks like he just cut across the nose of the one of Renix.
Oh,
And
yeah.
67 also gets involved.
That's gotta hurt. That was a big hit for both cars.
Cortez, though, already on the outside, doing a good set of moves through the S's.
67 Honda's just RTG'd, like he just stopped aside on the track and just returned to pits.
Mitch making up a lot of time. 3/10 behind Suiza. Feigns a look on the inside.
You can see the hood just bouncing on the Honda.
Brakes a bit later, still hits the apex, plenty of room. It's a good clean overtake.
That is clinical from him. And now he can take a breather until he catches up with Mitch Warmington. He's in the whose first race in the Porsche actually. This is his first time in the car. Martin Warmington. I think I got the names mixed up, but yeah, this is his first race in the Porsche. In at least SimRacing.gp at least. And he's holding up pretty well because the Porsche, well, a lot of new drivers, they suffer from Porsche deaths. Even in Laguna Seca, a couple drivers, they spun just by driving the car because the car is unpredictable when you do stuff that it doesn't like.
Mitch actually deciding to go to the pits, get a little bit of that damage repaired. I'm sure that frontline speed was slowing him down quite a bit. Do you think he's going to be able to take those tires for the rest of the race?
If he conserves them, he should be able to do that, but if he actually gets into the battle, that may scream a bit of danger for his tires.
Oh, he's got a lot of battling left to do, especially if he wants to get back up towards the top of the field. And I'm sure he does.
Don't forget, this is also mixed conditions, so there may be rain after about 30 minutes. Would that mean the drivers would have to pit for wets? Maybe, maybe not, depends on how much time they would lose in the pits. So there is a lot of strategy that could be in play here in the long run. John W. He started at the back of the pack and he was a bit far off.
Putting in decent lap time though. His fastest lap is a 1:47.1. certainly respectable.
Back in front, I'm surprised in how Swanson's holding up. Like, he's only fallen like 3.5 seconds away from Yarrington, who is an absolute beast in the Aston Martin.
You know, I find it almost even more surprising that now the top 8 are entirely dominated by Porsche and Aston Martins.
The Porsche is good in this track, it's just it struggles with in big long main straight. But you cannot catch a Porsche in the straight if you cannot keep up with it in Sector 3, where the Porsche's the best at.
Alex trying his best to gain on Gustavo. He's got a nice long straight in the toe. Gustavo's going to have to do a lot of work if he wants to make sure that Alex does not sit right behind him this whole time. And actually, Gustavo having to go defensive, Alex taking a look around the outside. He's actually sticking with it. Oh, a little bit of a tap
contact
there. He does give up the position.
Alex was 11 kilometers faster than Gustavo in the start-finish straight with the toe. Jake Stork here is also new to the Porsche. He normally drives front engine cars, so having the engine on the wrong side of the car he's coping pretty well with it.
Absolutely. He seems to be doing quite well. Gustavo again going defensive. Alex has a little bit of a run. Not much.
Let's see if he's patient enough to try to overtake in the start-finish straight, which I know he's gonna do.
The Porsche of Gustavo has a little bit of damage actually on the rear there.
He did get hit at the start, and that is easy for him. Look at the straight line speed difference. Gustavo was completely helpless in the start-finish straight. The amount of toe and straight top end the Aston had.
Yeah, he seems to be struggling with that top speed for sure.
Yeah, again, our start-finish straight, Alex was a whole 11 kilometers per hour faster than Gustavo at the speed trap. And right now, Joel Klaas is closing in on Swanson right now. He's only a second away from him. He's a half a second faster than the Aston.
They are reaching some traffic here. See if that makes us anything up at all, but let's take a look at Gustavo again. He's still looking to take that position back from Alex. but he's not going to be able to do anything like Alex was able to on the front straight. In fact, he's still losing a little bit of time, even though he's in the slipstream.
It hurts to see that as a Porsche main. Gustavo was he was 9 kilometers per hour slower, despite having the tow. But that said, he was not close enough, and if he was as close as Alex was when he got past him, he would have a greater top speed.
Andrew closing in on Warmington. Looking on the inside. Not much Warmington can do right now. Slots in right in front of him, but Warmington takes a look on the inside, but he doesn't take it, he backs out.
The Lambo is also a great car on this track, especially in the first 2 sectors. It is a bit tricky to drive in the 3rd sector with how the Lambo responds to low speed, but in the first 2 sectors it's really stable and easy to drive. So it's amazing that he managed to catch up with the Porsche in the final sector.
Fabio looking to try to get the position from Tucker. Both cars with a little bit of damage.
Yeah, he is on the recovery drive after the lap 1 incident.
Both drivers cautious right now, giving each other plenty of room. Tucker taking the defensive line into the chicane. Not going to affect his time too terribly much as long as he gets a good exit.
Which he did, but let's see how the Beamer responds with tow. Yeah, there's no way he's beating Alexis in the straight line.
Especially if he does have a little bit of damage.
The Beamer's not the best car when it comes to straights. It is really strong in the tow, however.
JW in the grass. Let's take a look at what happened here. Just loses it around that corner. We've seen that that's a tricky corner tonight. A couple drivers have gone off, usually out wide.
He also suffered from what the Honda is notorious for, and that is getting into unrecoverable spins.
Good battle going on between Flavio and Tucker.
As Tucker goes a bit defensive with an early turn in.
Kind of lets that position go. Good overtake by Flavio.
This company just capitalized on Tucker going slow at the exit.
That being said, we know the BMW is not that fast in a straight line, and the Lexus is, and now the Lexus has the slipstream. He is a bit far back, but it will certainly close the gap.
But Apolinario is going to do whatever he can to try. Oh, wow, that is a really deep dive bomb.
He has stuck it for right now.
And has gotten past.
He takes it.
That is brave.
What a move. Oh, runs a little wide though, and the BMW just slips on the inside and takes the position right back.
Yeah, Apolinario has better control over the situation. He is the faster driver. And he's gonna do whatever he can to get away.
JW off again, same corner. Oh, maybe even a disconnection here.
Oh, he's just taken too much of the curb and the car didn't like that.
Absolutely not. Yeah, it looks like he ended up leaving the race, which is a bit disappointing to see considering he can absolutely be a fast driver.
Also, Michael Cortez, this is his second 604 race, and he's doing really well. Or second NASRS race, and he is holding up really well.
Mitch had a bit of an incident there. Those new tires maybe not treating him as well as he had hoped. He's got a lot of ground to make up. It's starting to tick down on the time.
Most drivers would be going into the pits in about 6 minutes. I do not think there's going to be rain for the rest of the race. So Mitch may have to drive with a bit of one tire, one rubber at the end. And here we have Torrance, who's, I think, in the evil mark. Which I think it's for the first time he's driving that, and I may want to confirm that before I make the claim.
Tucker was not able to keep that gap with Molinaro and is now under threat from DeMarcus Rogers.
Who had an amazing run out of that corner.
Alexis going defensive. Rogers running a little bit wide there. Now let's see if the Honda can keep up with the Lexus on the straight.
The Honda's also really fast in the straight line. I'd say it's almost on par with the Lexus.
Marcus with not quite as good of an exit, but that toe helping out quite a bit. Both drivers braking at around the same point. Looking up the
really
inside.
close.
Looks
And he
like
goes
he
up
might
the
have the
inside.
position.
He had a better exit over Tucker.
He did, but Tucker has a little bit of a better line through here. He's going to have a bit more speed. Not able to capitalize on it, though.
So you have Loic in front who's caught up by Molinaro. And let's see, who also got past McLaren, who I believe is a lap down. So let's see how Loic defends against, as he goes wide. He still has the inside and can play a bit defensive, but he's gonna be overtaken in the straight, but there's nothing he can do.
Jackman with a bit of an incident, caused a bit of a mess for the other drivers. Let's see what happened. Just gets a little loose around there, not able to recover it, and parks it in the gravel. Let's take a look at Apollinario, who did end up getting around Luis. Missed what happened there during the replay, and it looks like he's in front of him here as well. So not
He just got
too
past.
sure.
He just used the straight. He just got past him before the braking zone.
Let's take a look back up front. Joel is actually now challenging Swanson for a position.
And Arjun is also not that far away from him.
Ooh.
Gustavo has fallen back a bit, and so did Tyler. As Joel goes into the pits.
Yeah, didn't have a great run through the chicane, and I guess he decided to just head in the pits.
As Gustavo also follows him, I think they're trying to do the undercut on Swanson. Which, if you know Barcelona is super heavy on tire wear. So, it could possibly work.
Also means they're going to be a bit easier to get at in the end of the race if they are not careful with their tires. Be quite interesting to see how it plays out. Doesn't seem like anyone else has followed him into the pits this early on.
But I think Joe has the overall pace advantage over Swanson, so if the undercut does work, he is only going to get away from him. And he doesn't have to spend lap times just challenging him.
Gustavo gaining a little bit in the pits. Seems like he's a lot closer than he did when he entered. See how that works out.
Gustavo's 2 seconds behind. So he has... Oh, Mitch! What has he done? What happened to him?
Take a look. Ah, just ran. Lost the rear end. He has to park it and wait for all those drivers to get around him before he can get back on track.
Just ran a bit. He just went in a bit too hot and just lost the rears. As I was saying, Gustavo did gain 1.5 seconds over Klaus in the pits.
Arjun in the pits. Tyler catching some traffic skidding out of the pit.
And Moss is right up him.
Yeah, Moss had a better time getting around that traffic, which means he is now starting to challenge Tyler on position. Polinario also in the pits. Mitch gaining another position. But he's got to keep it real consistent now till the end of the race to make sure that he gets some good positions.
Gustavo's fallen back half a second. Or Klaus has he just gets out behind.
Arjun just got out in front of Gustavo. Yep.
So Gustavo did have a better stop over Arjun. I guess Arjun was way further ahead before they went into the pits. And Gustavo's also gonna be on nice warm tires, so he should have the advantage right now.
A lot more drivers starting heading to the pits. We are at just about the halfway point.
Yep, Moss here still putting the pressure on Tyler. See if he actually gets past him in this corner, which I don't think so.
Oh, Tyler keeps it tight. Doesn't let that door stay open.
Sadler goes really wide here. Have his tires started to give up, or is he buckling under pressure?
Ooh, Moss going in a bit too hot. Locks up the rears, but he maintains where he is, and Seiler actually goes into the pits. Maybe you were right about those tires.
We also have a couple cars trying to do the overcut. As Cortez goes slow, what happened to him?
Not sure what's going on here. He just stopped on track. And he's back on again. Maybe a bit of a hardware issue. Does have a stop-go 30. Lots of shuffling around happening in the pits right now. Gustavo flashing a little bit. Probably a bit frustrated. See if he lets him by. He does.
Gustavo takes a really narrow entry here.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
He's just stopping. What happened to him?
Not sure. Sad to see. He was still in the running. Not too sure what happened there. Flavio getting very close to Stork. A lot of speed on him.
Yeah, there's nothing he could do as he just gets past him. But he made it look really easy.
Mitch out on track. Gustavo did end up going to the pits. Mitch now in P16. And Renault or Renix and the Lamborghini has a drive-through penalty, which means Mitch is going to be P15 once Renix serves that penalty.
Kurt Moss, I think, is also exiting the pits right now, so he should be on fresh rubber. And Swanson did lose the position to Arjun and Klaus in the pits. And he is 6 seconds off of him.
Flavio with a in P9.
Oh, I've just heard news that Gustavo broke his paddle shifter. That is
No.
really unfortunate. I did break my paddle shifters before the Indy race last season, and I blame it on myself for 3D printing a part which goes through a lot of stress with not a lot of material. So I feel that it just sucks when one small part of your wheel breaks. Especially, I know that Gustavo uses a DIY wheel.
Yeah, there's certainly a bit of a risky run when you have DIY components. But that is really unfortunate to hear. He's had great pace over the past couple days.
Especially with how unfamiliar he is with the Porsche, he put on a great show. Like, I remember when the last time a lot of people actually moved to the Porsche, it was they had a hard time. I remember Peter O'Brien spinning out in the first 2 races in the season, and I also spun out, I think, in all 6 races of my first season with the Porsche. So it is a difficult car, and Gustavo's gotten up and running like really fast, and that is amazing from him. Like he knows how to understand a car really fast.
Carrington finally in the pits, but has plenty of gap. Should be able to get in front of Klaus just fine.
Is it me, or is Stewart getting away from Tucker?
A little hard to tell right now. His lap time is a little bit lower, but he seems to be gaining in certain sectors and then losing a little bit in other sectors, so...
Perhaps he just had a minor tank slapper.
This hairpin is absolutely crucial to get right. For both lap time and for position, actually. It's quite a good overtaking spot.
This whole sector is a great way to set up for a pass in the main straight, especially exit out of the chicane. The thing Stewart nails, but so did Tucker.
Yeah,
And look at the Lexus just get away in the straight.
Yeah, absolutely. 7 tenths disappeared to 9 tenths.
It hurts. It hurts as a Porsche main seeing stuff like that.
It's like everyone's settling in a little bit. 23 minutes until the race is over. No change expected in the next 30 minutes. At least in terms of weather.
It's gonna be a fully dry race. After Marcus Rogers, who I think was behind Lloyd the whole second stint so far.
Just want to point out Mitch is already in P13. Looking
And
to
soon
get past
P12.
Rhino. It's a better run, but has to lift because no place for him to go. Picks up the inside.
He kind of scared Rhino into running a bit wide. Rhino's just super defensive.
Mitch looking to tuck it up the inside. He's trying to stick it. Ooh. So, off. Let's take a look at what happened here. Looks like it happened a bit earlier.
Kurt Moss is also putting the pressure on Rhino. What happened to Kurt? He was running in like the top 10s.
Not sure. Putting a lot of pressure. Mitch up to P11. Very soon gonna find himself in the top 10. Moss taking plenty of looks at Rhino.
He is right up the bumper of the Ferrari. No, I'm disappointed in Moss. I mean, he could have made the car any Moss green, but he just decided to make it lime. He was this close to making it green as he gets past the Ferrari to the braking zone.
Is he able to stick it around the outside? Oh, Ferrari squeezing him a bit. Moss having to back out, but he's still right on his tail.
Is he gonna try getting past the Ferrari before the straight? Or is he gonna stay patient?
Take a look here. Moss has a little bit of pressure from behind.
Is that Caleb Yarrington who is, it is Caleb behind him. So these both cars are under pressure from being lapped while being in a battle. Let's see how Caleb lets this battle play out. As Moss just gets past the Ferrari on the outside, that is a great move.
There were inches there between that front bumper and that right rear quarter panel. Really well done by Moss.
And now the battle is broken up by Yarrington. But a bit far back, Arjun is half a second away from Klaus. So Caleb is not going to get challenged for a bit because Klaus is only 6 seconds behind him, so he could take it easy on these lap cars as he did in the straight by letting these two fight.
Arjun and Klaus, a little close. 0.4 of a second separates them. Aston Martin versus the Porsche, which we know that's a very strong duo tonight. Both cars a very strong choice at this track.
Absolutely, there's no clear distinction over which is the better car, but both cars have just occupied the top 6. Still putting the pressure on Tucker. He has not got past him, but he is still sticking right behind him.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at Arjun again. Really close on this front straight here. Klaus going defensive. Tries to go for an undercut. Not going to make it for the next set of turns, but now he's on the outside for the sweeping right.
Klaus just positioned his car much better for defense. So now Yarrington opened up another second on them as they're battling.
Stork still looking to get on Tucker. Gain on Tucker. Looking pretty aggressively through this final chicane. Has a little bit of a moment through there.
I think he tried to have a wider exit, but that didn't work as he just compromised his whole corner.
You see that Lexus just absolutely running away from the Porsche. due to that bad
Absolutely.
exit.
Like when I moved from the Porsche to a Lexus, I couldn't comprehend how fast the Lexus was in a straight line. Where I was like, do I overtake them? Do I back out? Do I give him a bump draft? I absolutely don't know because I'm not used to it. That's how it feels when you're driving the Ferrari and Honda as well.
A little bit of a train going on here.
As it's Caleb trying to lap both Moss and Mitch,
Whoa.
and Mitch is going super slow.
Moss with an excellent line through there. Now has Yarrington behind. Does let him go, but has to run wide, goes a little bit into the marbles. See if that compromises his exit speed at all.
And Mitch is still sticking right behind him.
"15 minutes to go. It's pretty much now or never. Now's the time to get position." Arjun still on the back of Klaus. Still got pressure. Not as close as I'm sure he wants to be, but still plenty of time to attack. Starting to actually run up on the traffic. Same traffic that Yarrington is in.
As Arjun is super close to Klaus here. But Klaus just has the better exit out of the chicane. As he goes ultra defensive right on the marbles.
Alex gaining very quick in that slipstream. Both
Oh,
cars
he
not sure
sends
where to
it.
go. He sends it. Ooh,
And
still
Klaus
is
reacts,
looking.
giving him the space. Sorry, go ahead.
What a close battle through those last turns there, or for first turns there.
Klaus is being ultra defensive, and he just knows where to place his car. And he's confident with it.
Not much room for mistake here. You just spent 50 minutes. Oh! Round!
That's Mitch and
Goes
Moss.
Mitch and Moss. Let's take a look at what happened here. No, both cars just went sideways.
He just tried to do a
my.
tandem drift there. And Moss has a bent front hood. He has a lot of damage. And that's not what you want with 12 minutes to go.
No,
12
he's
minutes
not
left
going to
in the
have
race.
time to go and repair unless he really needs to. So, unfortunately, it looks like he's not going to be much faster now than he was earlier. Very familiar situation going on, except this time Klaus stays on the inside, Alex goes on the outside, tries to go for a switcheroo but doesn't quite get it. Klaus keeps the door closed.
Klaus is not giving him the opportunity to go up the inside like the last lap. Because he knows that if he goes in the inside, he may not be able to keep up with him.
Alex getting a little bit better of a line. Not too much. Ooh, Klaus running just a little bit wide. Both cars running up to traffic.
This is a really bad time to be stuck behind a lap car, but hopefully he lets him pass in the straight. Maybe Klaus will try to use the slipstream of the car ahead to get a bit of straight line speed, unless he just lets pass now. And Arjun is so close to him now.
Oh man, you can see how close that is. Alex trying to look around the outside. Gives him room still. Now he's going to have the inside through here. Gets the position.
Just a really nice move around the outside.
Both cars running a little bit wide into the gravel, or into the marbles. Klaus grabbing a bit more marbles than Arjun. Still right behind him.
Klaus is not giving up, he's trying to take the place back.
He's got 10 minutes to go. He's got to get it done soon. Felipe and Luis, or Flavio and Luis. Both battling it out for T1.
Lloyd was super aggressive around the outside. He is also getting really comfortable with the Porsche. He has been consistently fast the whole race.
Pitching P12. Very familiar sight looking at behind of Rhino.
And that Swanson behind them try to get lapping past him, but he's not in a fight anymore as Seiler is 21 seconds behind him.
Looks like Flavio did end up taking position. Now in P6. Mitch still trying to secure P11. Probably aiming to get to P10, but I don't think that's going to happen. There's quite a gap between Rhino and Gross. Mitch up. Looking around the outside. Rhino going very defensive. Sends it up the inside, loses it right in front of him.
He was a bit too overambitious. He ran super narrow into the corner and just cooked it. So Honda doesn't like that. Honda would like the corner to be as wide as possible and as slow as possible, because once it gets into the spin, you cannot catch the car. It's really difficult.
Swanson also caught up in that a little bit. Still not under too much attack, but certainly not what he wants. 7 minutes left in the race.
Aeronox also catches up with them.
Small train forming here. Battle for P11.
All these cars are mid-engine and handle pretty similarly to each other. Aeronox gets close to Mitch.
A little bit better of a line.
Would Mitch's tires be gone by now because he stopped at the hour mark or at the 50 minutes mark?
I'm sure he's certainly feeling the wear now, especially because he's been in this battle for quite a while.
And the Honda's also not forgiving when it comes to tire wear. And also after the amount of the spins and moments he had, his tires would be toast right now as he's just helpless as Relax gets past him and also spins the same way Mitch spun last lap.
Corner seems really tricky tonight to get a good handle on.
It is cambered and you would need a perfect line, so because most cars are gonna try to get away from the drivers. Mitch just has clear air to fight Rhino for a while until Renox catches up, but he's 4 seconds behind him. Rhino also has front end damage after running into Mitch, so maybe his
Window is now closed.
front end would... Maybe he may suffer a bit in a straight line as the pit window just closes, but thankfully all drivers have pitted.
It's still tucking in close, not trying to make any insane moves right now. Rhino being a little bit defensive, but still making sure he gets a good time.
Mitch just gets a better run out of that corner.
Rhino has to go a little bit defensive.
He backs out.
Mitch feigns a look on the inside. Rhino stays there.
He sold him a dummy. He was really wide at the exit. Has he gained an advantage by doing that?
I'm not sure, but he might have gotten a warning.
That is really common when you're battling this hard. You could lose track of the amount of warnings you have when you're fighting aggressively.
Mitch making several looks, both inside and outside, putting a lot of pressure on Rhino. Almost thinks about going up the inside. Rhino gives him the room. Mitch a little bit loses the car just a little bit. His tires are definitely not happy right now. Gets the better line but has nowhere to go.
That was really close for him. He just backs out last minute. As Caleb just crosses the line, these drivers have 2 laps in addition to what they have right now. So he's got to make that move fast. Because he's only got 2 more attempts down the back straight, the main straight.
Yeah, you can see Rhino is starting to make a few mistakes here and there. Perhaps under pressure.
I would not blame him, especially having a driver like Mitch Lush behind him. As he gets behind lap traffic and gets a bit of straight line boost, and I mean straight.
Mitch with some really good speed through this first set of corners. Takes a little bit of a tighter line. Thinks about looking up the inside. Maybe a tiny bit of contact there.
Now they're just stuck behind 2 cars a lap down. Let's see if Mitch capitalizes on that.
Rhino doing a really good job of both trying to overtake and being defensive at the same time.
And Renox is also caught up with the group.
Good leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
As Caleb just crosses the line to start the final lap of the race, as Rhino goes past
Mitch
Orestes.
might not have the same opportunity. He's gonna have a compromised turn because of that.
And Mitch can only hope that the Ferrari of Cortez slows down Rhino. They can get past him in a straight, but he can because he is really close to him, and he goes side by
He's
side
gonna
with
have
him.
the inside line.
He
Oh,
does.
Rhino backs out. Oh, makes contact
Oh.
with the left car.
And everyone just bumped into each other. Cortez just had such a slow entry, and hey, he just flips.
Gets out
really.
in front. Rhino makes it out in front of that.
Rhino's going super slow right now, as he has his bonnet looks bent and his bumper looks completely destroyed, and he is helpless against Renox. And also Mitch as well. Oh, unlucky for him. He had such a good run, and then he got stuck behind the lap car.
Him and Rhino still going at it. Rhino looks like he has quite a bit of damage.
Oh, Mitch, that's a Hamilton.
Rhino is running wide though. Both cars with severe damage.
As Caleb goes across the start-finish straight to win what would be an easy race for him. I think back at front, Arjun has bagged second place with and he's 3 seconds ahead of Klaus.
He has.
But the focus is here. Would Mitch be able to get past Rhino before the race ends?
Both cars struggling with grip, struggling with damage.
Renox is just getting away from them. Like, he has no trouble opening up the gap in one lap.
Mitch thinks about it but doesn't go for it.
Mitch's tires are absolutely shredded right now. This is his 3rd incident in the 2nd stint. As both drivers go super aggressive.
Mitch looking to do a drag race to the finish. Slightly better exit.
Will you get Rhino? Hey, the line!
Oh!
He does!
12 thousandths of a second beats him to the line. What a race from those two.
That is an insane finish by Mitch. Who had a race to forget about, but I think he has got a little more hands-on experience with the Honda and what it can do when you're not treating it right, when you're treating it a bit aggressive.
That's going to wrap us up for tonight. Yarrington, Arjun, and Klaus make up the podium. Fantastic fight by so many people tonight. And again, if you want to join in on the fun, Discord link is below. Please go ahead and hit us up. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, Arjun. It's been a blast.
It's been a pleasure.
Hope to see you again in the future, and hope to see you all viewers again in the future. Thank you for joining us tonight. This was the North America Sim Racing Series at Barcelona. Have a good night.